Okay, so this time we will review torsion in beams. I think by now you're already familiar with the that the beams can deflect laterally through a torsional response, and we know that this response is what we call LTB, which is a form of global instability that should also be considered so that our members don't fail under this certain load, and so that we can design effectively yung mga bracing to prevent this instability. Also note that torsional effect becomes critical kapag meron tayong unbraced length na malaki or mahaba yung unbraced length. Although yung vertical deflection pa naman, yung from gravity loads yung primary concern, but torsion can also be dangerous if it is ignored or if meron tayong bracing na hindi properly designed. So therefore, we need to use some code provisions to address their torsion. Also, remember na yung LTB occurs about the major axis only, and from numerous studies, it shows that yung mga thin-walled back section natin or yung mga closed sections, yun yung mas stiff when it comes to torsion and less prone to warping as compared to wide flange. But since ang ginagamit natin ay mga wide flange sections, therefore we need to consider the effect of warping. Okay, so it is important to note that the uniform torsion only happens to circular shafts. But if meron tayong rectangular beams or basta hindi circular, si Saint Venant in 1853 is a French mathematician. He showed that the cross section that is plane before twisting, so plane siya before twisting, does not stay plane afterward if it is a non-circular sections. So this behavior is called as the warping behavior, and this is a type of non-uniform behavior. So for rectangular shapes, torsion isn't just about the rotation. We must also consider for this out of plane warping in addition to this pure twist. Okay, so for pure torsion, when you have a prismatic homogeneous shaft that is loaded by a torque T, so the cross-section will rotate without warping. Hindi magbabago yung plane. The plane remains plane. So we can express the rate of twist theta as this, the change in phi with respect to z. Okay, so if you can still recall from your mechanics, now we can take a differential element from dz and then applying some shear strain relationship which varies linearly with respect to the length. We have this gamma is equal to r d phi over dz. So this is what we call as the Hooke's law for shear. Applying some integration over the circular area, then we'll have this T is equal to Gj d phi over dc. So this is for the differential element. But if we know na yung kino-consider natin is the whole beam, this formula becomes TL over Jg. If we try to look for the angle of twist, so this is the one that you use from your strema. While for the stress, the shear stress because of the torsion, the formula that we have here is TR over J, where J is the polar moment of inertia, Ix plus Iy. Okay, but because of warping, we don't use this polar moment of inertia. So simply, yung formula natin like Ix plus Iy. Instead, we use this torsional constant J for rectangular section, and these are just the estimate of what we're going to use for this torsional effect of torsion. Although similar lang naman yung torsional constant and polar moment of inertia, but here if we're considering a rectangular element, especially yung I flange, we'll be using the 0.333 na alpha, yung ratio na na-solve from research. So this is approximately 1/3. We just sum up all this BT cube over 3 ng lahat ng element ng isang white flange. Then we can now have this torsional constant. So it's already a property of our white flange that you can see from the manual. So you also see here that if you have a square element or in same yung value ng B and T, they're significantly less torsionally efficient than these thin rectangles. Okay, so let's have a review of full yielding. So the capacity of steel section in flexure can reach up to its full optimal. Yun yung plastic moment natin, but the maximum strength is up to yielding. Okay, so our strength capacity or yung pinaka-limit natin is Fy, pero yung failure mechanism ay merong transition from elastic to plastic. So if we try to look at the cross-section, now while the beam is bent through an applied rotation under a moment M, now we can plot this moment versus theta, and then further we can apply small amount of rotation. So initially, the mechanism is under the elastic part, no? So we can see that it is still below the yield stress and the behavior is elastic. But if we increase further yung theta, of course we increase the moment, parts of the section begins to plastify. Typically, the flanges show plastic behavior first. And then, pag dinagdagan pa natin yung rotation, the member can theoretically reach a state where the entire cross-section has already yielded. So, in this case, we usually ignore strain hardening. So, this is not the same as the stress strain diagram, but there's a resemblance. No? But for now, we are not considering the strain hardening effect. We can also see that the stress distribution shifts from triangular to rectangular, no, which is plastic. But the uniform stress of Fy is still the same across the section. So again, we'll be considering two types of twist for white flange, the uniform and non-uniform. So uniform is based on the pure torsion or St. Bernard's torsion, while the second one is based on the warping for non-uniform. So for non-circular members, it becomes more complicated because of this warping. Let's try to derive the formula for the twist considering yung warping, no? Because yung formula natin for pure torsion is already given, yung dphi over dc. But for warping, we can have this derivation. So for simplicity, so we have some assumption to take wherein there will be no warping on the web. We only assume that the flanges are the ones to move. Okay, so we'll denote the flange displacement due to twisting as UF, yun yung displacement due to twisting. And there's also a geometric relationship between the angle of twist and the flange displacement via this right triangle, as you can see here. And since we're dealing with small angles, we can say that the tangent of theta is approximately the same as theta. Therefore, it gives us this expression that relates the flange deflection or the displacement of the flange tip based on the angle of twist. Now, taking the third derivative of this relationship with respect to the beam axis, so it yields a governing equation as shown in this slide. And take note that this h over 2 is a constant and it doesn't change. Now, okay, so building upon the Euler-Bernoulli beam theory, yun usually yung ginagamit natin for elasticity, we can isolate a single flange and we let it act as a separate beam or a separate slender beam. So yun yung assumption. Same dun sa plates. Okay, so we treat the top and bottom flanges as two separate beams where each of them will develop a flange shear that we can call as VF. And because shear and moment are related, we already know this. And since we are considering an Euler-Bernoulli beam theory, so there's a relationship between the moment. So the first derivative of moment with respect to C is equal to the shear. Okay, so for one flange, yun yung relationship nila. And then we can differentiate this dm over dc, which is equal to Vf. So we can differentiate further yung Uf with respect to C, so that it will be equal to the first derivative of M, which is the shear, no? The shear of the flange over EIF. So yun yung relationship. So, parang nilipat lang natin since alam na natin yung relationship ng dm over dc. Yung third derivative nun, which is the third derivative of UF with respect to C is equal to the shear of the flange over the flexural rigidity EI. Okay, so now since we already have an expression for VF, the shear and flange, these two shear now from the top and bottom will actually produce a moment, and that is already our moment for due to warping. That is what we call as the warping moment. And this flange, this warping moment will develop because of these shear forces. As you can see, we have two forces here, and they are separated by a couple, and that couple will produce this warping moment. Okay, so therefore the moment due to warping is equal to Vf times H. Now, since we already derived the equation for Vf, ipa-plug in lang natin yung nakuha natin expression to have this moment, no, twisting moment. And then we can isolate the warping constant. As you can see here, this is the If times H squared over 2, and we can simply denote it as Cw. So you don't need to compute this value anymore because it's already pre-calculated in our ASC, no, from the steel manual, as long as it is a hot rolled section. But for cases na it is not available sa manual, then you have to compute for it manually. So the formula is just Ifh squared over 2, or the moment of inertia in y-axis times h squared over 4. So yan, especially for the built-up section. Now to simplify, the moment due to warping is equal to negative Cw, the third derivative of angle of twist with respect to z. So the negative sign here means warping resistance, opposite siya nung pure torsion. So for the final differential equation for a wide flange, this is the combination of pure torsion, the Saint Venant torsion, plus the non-uniform torsion or the warping moment. Now we come up with this equation, Gj dphi over dz minus E Cw, the third derivative of the angle of twist, all over dz raised to 3. Now, we can derive also the critical moment for LTB under elastic behavior, but note that yung na-derive pa lang natin is yung moment for twisting, no? But we also have other types of moment that we need to consider, the two other important moments. And also, ang kinonsider lang natin is the motion of the top and bottom flanges. But we also have to include the lateral translation with respect to the centroid of the sections. Okay, so, and we also be considering the displacement of the flange. So, for LTB, there's actually, we have three moments that we need to consider, or three phenomena that we need to combine all those three phenomena into one. Now, first, yung usual is the vertical deflection. So, it is the moment that will cause the vertical deflection. The second one is the lateral translation in the XZ plane. So, what is the moment contribution that will cause a lateral displacement ng compression flange natin? And the third is yung na-derive na natin is yung moment the twisting of the cross section, which is due to the warping plus the Saint Venant torsion. Okay, so again, this twist occurs because we have a compression flange and it wants to buckle sideway, while the tension flange restrains it. Again, so we have three phenomena that we need to model, and then we have to combine it into one equation only. So the objective of this following derivation is to express all these three moments in terms of a single original moment that can cause vertical deflection, this lateral deflection, and the twisting along the z-axis. So that we will not be looking anymore for individual values. So ang goal is makuha natin yung isang equation that now considers all these three effects, kung meron tayong lateral torsional buckling. So let's call this as MO for vertical deflection, MY is for lateral deflection, and MZ for twisting. As you can see here, we have this beam, so wide flange beam, and the x-axis, the MO is applied dun sa x-axis. We have the MY. We also have the MY. Yung rotation niya is along the y-axis. And we also have this Z. Yung longitudinal axis natin is yung Z. Okay, so we can model these moments one by one. For the moment that will cause a vertical deflection, we follow again the Euler-Bernoulli equation or concept. So the relationship between the second derivative of deflection and the moment can be presented this way. MO is equal to EIX, the second derivative of the displacement with respect to Z. So this is also the equation, if you can still remember, yung pinaka first equation natin using double integration method when you try to solve for the deflection of a beam, or we want to try to solve for the equation ng elastic curve. Okay, so the second one, the moment, we still use the Bernoulli equation, but this is now the moment that causes lateral deflection, which is MY. And since pwede nating ma-relate yung MO and then yung MY using some geometric relationship and again small angle. So take note na yung stiffness the same lang, but here yung formula is EIY d squared U d squared. Yung displacement is U, unlike dun sa vertical deflection na V. And yung difference then is yung moment of inertia na gagamitin. So yung weak axis naman yung moment of inertia na gagamitin. Again, going back, if we want to relate this MO sin phi, from the triangle and then yung MY, we need to make sin phi is equal to phi for small angle. So same lang yan for small angle, sin phi is equal to phi. And then substituting this, we can have MO sin phi EIY. So yun na yung relationship nila. MO phi is equal to EIY d squared U over dc squared. So yun yung formula natin for the moment that will cause lateral deflection. And for our twisting moment, we already derived this from the previous equation, and this will be our third equation. So the next thing we need to do is to express these equations in terms of MO. So yung MZ kailangan naka-MO din. If we try to look from above, yung top view, this MZ can be related to our MO by this theta. So this is our MZ. Okay, so pag titingin na natin yung top view, yung section natin from the horizontal being horizontal, mag-move na siya. Magkakaroon na tayo dito ng deflected shape. Therefore, yung axis, yung original z-axis natin ay na-move na from that point to the other point. So nag-move siya, but still the moment ay nasa z-axis pa din. Ganun din dun sa x, The moment na-move lang, na-rotate lang natin yung axis niya, but the designation will still be the same. So ngayon yung x na-rotate na siya. So but the moment still mx. Okay, so the moment, yung general moment natin, MO, will still have a component, no? Even though nag-deflect yung ating beam. No? So, mayroon pa siyang dalawang component. We have MX and then yung MC. And we can still relate that despite this change, no? Despite this theta. So, yan yung theta natin. Using the theta, we can get the component. So MC is equal to, this is the opposite, so we'll be using sine theta. And since we're considering a very small angle, so MO is theta. And MX, negative MO cosine theta, this is the adjacent. Cosine 0 or very small value will give us cosine of theta will be equal to 1. So mx will just be equal to negative mo. Now for the equation 4, since we know that mc is equal to negative mo theta, and theta is the slope, this is just the first derivative of the u displacement over the z-axis. Now let us combine this all together so that we'll be able to capture all the deformation and twisting. Now, considering equation 3 and 4, we can actually combine this together. No? So, we just inserted equation 4 to equation 3. Now, once we insert that, we can have this negative MOD over DZ and GJ dphi over DC. So, lahat yun ay, yung terms natin dito is naka-MO na lang. And then, we'll now considering all, the relationships from the previous, and we can take the derivative again of this lateral torsional basic buckling expression, and this will give us this expression. Now we also know from equation 2, this is from the lateral displacement moment, we can have this relationship. And then i-rearrange lang natin, no? So the d squared u over dz squared is equal to mo phi over eiy. Now ngayon lipat natin tong d2u, no? Insert natin siya, we plug in this the second derivative of u with respect to z dun sa basic lateral buckling equation, and this will give us this expression. And then we can rearrange this, lipat natin dun sa kabilang side ng equation, so that will be equal to 0, and we can now call this as our main equation. This is a fourth order differential equation. We just need to solve this fourth order DE, and our goal is to find this MO, yung critical moment that will cause a lateral torsional buckling in 3 types of moment. So I don't know if you still remember on solving the roots of this fourth DE, but from our reference, yung kay Salmon, you can find there the complete solution and deriving the roots of this higher DE. So for a homogeneous solution, we can apply this. So continued. Okay, so this one leads to a characteristic eigenvalue equation where the roots is combination of real and imaginary pairs. So the general solution is a combination of hyperbolic and trigonometric terms. So yun yung importance nung DE ninyo. So this is why we come up with the formulas that we have from AASE, and all of that is based on mathematics. Okay, so it is interesting to note that the pattern of derivation is same na naman dun sa Euler equation for columns. So we're in the solution, or the pattern of this is sinusoidal na. So this is the reason why we always have a pi, meron tayong pi for the equation, since we follow a sinusoidal equation. Now our goal is to make the derived equation to 0, yung expression na yun to 0, using this sinusoidal cycle. Now the solution, the general solution is phi z. Yung phi z is equal to k sine pi z over the unbraced length. Now, if this is our solution from the derivation, kunin lang natin yung first, second, third, and fourth derivative and ilagay natin yun sa original equation. Napalitan lang natin yung mga terms na merong phi na kasi yun yung may angle of twist, yung angle of phi. Since alam na natin yung fourth derivative nun, yung second derivative, lagay lang natin siya, i-plug in natin yung mga expressions na nakuha from getting its derivative. Now we come up with this, yung ECW, yung mahabang solution, which is equal to 0. And factoring common term, so lahat sila merong k sine pi z over LB, mas naging simplified yung ating equation. Okay, so we then simplify the differential equation and we can now collect the constant. So the constants here are k sine pi z over LB, and yung k. And we only make this happen, basta as long as meron tayong pi, kapag sinusoidal yan, kahit 2 pi yan or pi, it will always give us a zero solution. Now, rearranging this in terms of MO, we call this as our elastic buckling moment. Ito na yung formula natin for elastic buckling moment that considers the vertical bending, lateral translation, and twist. So, if yung behavior lang nung beam natin ay elastic. If ang goal naman natin is to solve for the corresponding elastic buckling stress, we just need to divide MO by the elastic section modulus SX. And now, to align the expression, same do sa format ng code, papalitan lang natin yung IY and CW with the parameter RTS. Since yung RTS ay related dun sa IYCW, so we can now, actually yung RTS is based dun sa IYCW. So lagay natin yan dun sa equation, and also mag-introduce din tayo ng HO. HO is D minus TF. And sa formula, meron din kayong makikitang CB, which is the modifier that accounts for the non-uniform moment gradients, since the derivation assume a uniform moment lang. So I think you're already familiar on how we get the value for CB. And now from the code, this FCR is the capacity we use if yung unbraced length niyo is nag-exceed dun sa LR. So this derived code formula is obtained from the derivation that we have from the previous slides. Okay, and if we plot the nominal strength on the vertical axis and we plot also the unbraced length, we can see that from this chart, if we have a certain LB, again, if it's beyond LR, the behavior is elastic. And if a certain LB is less than LR but more than LP, our beam will behave inelastically. And its capacity is somewhat between lang ng full moment capacity, MP, and the 70% of elastic yielding. So the 30% reduction is because of some residual stresses. And to get its capacity, kailangan mo lang mag-interpolate if you don't want to memorize the formulas na ni-recommend ng code. And if yung LB natin ay stable naman, less than LP, then the full moment, the beam will reach its full moment capacity. So these are the summary of the formulas na I think familiar na kayo. This is from the code. So this is what we use in solving the capacity. Now we also have the formula for LP and LR. Actually meron ding derivation yan based lang din dun sa formula na sa derivation or equations na ginamit natin. So same lang yan, but I'm not going to show how we're able to derive this LP and LR limits. Now, to account for the different loading and moment gradient conditions, AASE provides this moment gradient modifier na tinatawag. Sometimes it's also called as the bending moment factor. And with this equation, no, CB is equal to 12.5 Mmax over 2.5 Mmax plus 3Ma plus 4MB plus 3MC. So, yung value nito ay nagbabago depende sa type ng loading. Now, these moments, yung makita ninyo, MA, MB, and MC, are the moments at the quarter points of the unbraced length, while yung Mmax is the maximum moment, kahit hindi siya dun sa mga quarter points. Basta this is the maximum moment from the diagram, the moment diagram. But you also have to make sure that magiging magkakaiba yung Mmax ninyo depende sa kung ano yung unbraced length na kino-consider, because pwede tayong magkaroon ng iba't ibang value ng CB depende sa location or kung gaano kadami yung bracing ninyo. It's important to note that adding intermediate lateral bracing does not change the underlying moment diagram, but it does change the CB value. If meron kayong multiple CB values na applicable along the span, you have to choose the largest CB. Okay, so the good thing about our LTB curves and yung capacity ng W section, so lahat yun ay nakaplot na sa AISC considering yung LTB. Basta lahat ng section na available sa AISC manual, yung capacity niya ay na-solve na using this AISC table 3-10. So you can see yung transition part, yung pull moment capacity, and then yung inelastic part, lahat yun ay nakaplot na, pinat na ng AISC dito sa table 3-10. So the table is only for sections na yung FYI 50 and meron lang siyang uniform loading na CB is equal to 1. Yun yung assumption ng table na to. But in the event that you are using a beam na hindi FYI 50 or yung CB is not 1, you just have to normalize it. You just have to apply some ratio and proportion. So if that's the case, kailangan nyo lang i-divide yung MU, yung required MU is based from the loads. Kailangan nyo lang i-divide, once na makuha nyo na yung CB, so divide nyo lang siya from MU and also yung FY. So bale, para magamit nyo yung chart na to, MU is MU over CB times FY. So nasa denominator din yung FY. So this chart also show some lines. Some lines here are dashed and some are solid. So the solid lines, kung makikita nyo dun sa PDF ng AISC manual, meron dong solid lines, and yun yung nagre-represent ng most economical section sa region. Same lang din siya dun sa table 3-2. Yung table 3-2, hindi siya chart, naka-values lang siya ng mga capacity. Kung ano yung naka-bold dun, yun yung economical section. Ito, so table 3-2. Okay, so if MU is given, naka-LRFD yun, so you have to refer dun sa may mga blue na values, and kapag ASD, dun tayo sa naka-highlight na green column. Okay, so let's have an example here. So we need to select for the lightest beam given these parameters. And the normalized moment is already provided, which is 272.5 keeps fit. So the normalized moment here is already divided by 1.32 na CB. So sa problem, pwedeng hindi given yung CB, or ang binigay is yung original MU na hindi pa naka-divide sa 1.32. So this for this problem, na-divide niya na MU over CB. Now we can use this table 3-10 especially for the beams that will experience LTB. Okay, so using this table, we have our capacity, yung required natin, MU over CB, and also the unbraced length dun sa horizontal axis. So we can now look at this table. Since yung MU over CB natin ay 272.5, we just have to look somewhere between 270 and 276, and then plot some horizontal line, and then also draw a vertical line representing the unbraced length. and then you will create a region here, no, yung naka-blue, shaded na blue. So we're only interested dun sa region above this red line. So usually the upper right quadrant, yun yung interested tayo. Since anything in this region, dun sa upper right quadrant, nandun lahat ng mga sections na kayang mag-carry nung applied na load, which is 272.5 times CB. Now, in order for you to select for the lightest section, you just have to select the first solid line. So, notice that yung iba dito ay naka-dashed. And yung naka-solid line, yun yung nagre-represent ng most economical section. So, for this problem, the first solid line, now, yun yung lightest section that could carry the given load. We can see here that it is the W14 by 61. So, it is the first solid line, which means it is also the lightest section. But, you also have to note that when we design, ang kinonsider pa lang natin kasi is yung MU, yung required. But, there's some tendency na pwede siyang maging inadequate or because of the CB. When we try to resolve for the CB, pwedeng mas kulang pa yung nakuha natin. So, there's an instance. So, therefore, we have to check it further using the equations. And also, there's a chance na hindi siya pumasa nga siya sa flexure, pero hindi naman siya pumasa sa shear or hindi pumasa sa deflection or serviceability. So, therefore, despite of using the table, we will still be using the formulas. Pero kung ayaw nyo gamitin talaga yung formula and hindi siya pumasa sa ibang criteria, mag-move na kayo dun sa next solid line. No? Kung titingnan natin, yung next solid line here is W12 by 65. And if hindi pa din yun pumasa, then you have to check the next solid line and so on and so forth. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, you still have to check its actual capacity based on sa formulas that we have. No, so now we can check this W14 by 61. So it's A992. Okay, so using the equation, no, so this is somewhere in between dun sa transition zone. Kasi yung LP ay 8.65, LR is 27.5. So, makikita nyo yung mga values na to dun sa table 3-1. Pwede nyo din siyang makita. No? I-solve using the formula. Pero sa table 3-1, I think, andun lahat yung mga properties related to flexure. So, LB is 20 feet and yung CB is 1.32. And we have this BF. Yung BF sa formula is yung 0.7 FYSX. And yung plastic moment is 383. So, using this formula, na yung transition zone, so dapat hindi siya mag-exceed. Hindi siya mag-exceed dun sa plastic moment or the full moment capacity. Now, using this equation that we have from the manual, ang makukuha natin dun is 393. But since yung plastic moment, the design plastic moment is 383, yun pa din yung mag-go-govern. And if we are going to compare this capacity of the section na 383, ano ba yung required? No, so yung required is just, check niyo, 272.5 times 1.32. Ang required kasi natin is 272. Pwede kasing mas mataas pa din yung required. Kasi ni-normalize yung mga value. So, 272.5 times 1.32, 359. 359 yung required and yung capacity is 383. So, pasok pa din, no? So, yung section is able to carry those loads. Kaya niyang kargahin, pati ikaw. Now, pwede, kung ayaw nyo lang gamitin yung formula, pwede din kayong mag-refer dun sa table 3-2 na solve nyo na lahat ng capacity. Now, in considering LTB as well. Now, so for, just have to look for W14 by 61. Nandun na din yung ZX nun. And as you can see here, ano ba yung mga values here? No, so, the plastic moment, doon tayo interested sa MPX. No, so, the MPX is 383 under LRFD. And this is the same as dun sa na-solve natin using this equation. So, it's either you can use the table or you can use the chart, no? For this one, no? Pero pwede mo na din ma-compare yung mga LP and LR kasi dito sa table 3-2, ayan, meron na. So, yung 1461 available na din doon yung LP and LR. So, pwede mo na din masabi kung merong LTB yung section. So, you have a lot of options. Pwede nyo gamitin yung formula. Pwede nyo gamitin yung table 3-2. Or you can use the chart which is table 3-10. So, mas pinadali yung buhay natin using this AASE manual. Wala kasi tayong ganito na using NSCP.